My name is Christian Bauer, CEO of Docs42. We have beside me Simon Klingler and Markus Barker from Solutions Factory. Welcome to the webinar Intuitive Document Generation with Docs42 seamlessly integrated into Microsoft Dynamics 8. Sorry again for the audio and for the technical trouble and for the delayed start. We will try to make up for that. What we prepared for you is an introduction to Docs42 and Solutions Factory, Microsoft Dynamics, AX, and Documents. Show you how document automation with Docs42 and Dynamics 8 works, and do that within a demo, an extensive demo. Okay, so what you missed before is that Docs42 is an intuitive software product for document automation, data integration. It's quite flexible, it's extremely powerful and intuitive to use. And it's meant for generation of high-quality documents, including dynamic charts, tables, and also barcodes, images, text modules, and can connect data from all data sources, not only Microsoft Dynamics AX, but SharePoint, SAP, Dynamics CRM, whatever you like. And we are here together with Solutions Factory. That was the point where we actually finally managed to start the webinar, and you heard Simon Klingler telling you about Solutions Factory. And then Simon will take up from here, and yeah, he will tell us something about Microsoft Dynamics AX and Documents, will you?
Yes. Thank you, Christian. If you are talking about reports and documents in Microsoft Dynamics AX, there are several tools which can be used for different kinds of reports. First of all, there's SQL Server Reporting Services. That's the primary tool which is used for either analytical as well as documents. Then there are Microsoft Dynamics AX add-ins for Microsoft Office Word and for Microsoft Office Excel. That's a great software solution where you can get data from AX, and if you use Excel you can also change data and write it back to AX. Or if you use the Word add-in, you can create quotations and things like that directly in Microsoft Word. If you want to create financial reports, then there is another tool, it's called Management Reporter. It's getting more and more important. And if you want to print labels for your warehouse solution, then there is an integrated ZBL file generation in the new WHS warehousing solution. For all of these four areas, it's possible to use Docs42 reports. Usually we replace SQL Server Reporting Services reports or ZBL reports by Docs42. You can print or create all kinds of documents with Docs42. It's an enhancement to the reporting tools which exist in AX. It's not a complete replacement. So why have we chosen to use Docs42 AX? Docs42 within AX? Because it's really hard to create nice looking documents outside of Microsoft Dynamics. SQL Server Reporting Services is good for analytical reports, but it's not the tool of choice for document generation. If I'm talking about documents, I'm talking about reports like sales invoices, packing slips, typically form letter reports. SSRS is not easy to be used by users by not IT users. It has a rather complicated user interface, and there is a lot of technical stuff and labels and things like that used. So SSRS is not the tool of choice. Why don't we use Dynamics AX add-ins? Because that's the tool of Microsoft, where you can create reports in Microsoft Word, because it's not powerful enough to create automated reports. You can use them for special cases, but for replacing sales invoices, for instance, use Word templates and automate them, it's not powerful enough. What we have also seen is that there is always the need that the IT department does the report design and development It's time consuming and costly, and it's hard to coordinate the different departments and the different people. And all the required layouts and the functional needs, they are hard to fulfill. Not everything can be solved in reporting services easily, which results in high costs for report design. If we are looking at the sales invoice, there we are. On the left side, you see the design from SQL Server reporting services, and on the right side, you see the finally rendered sales invoice. The source code or the layout in SSRS doesn't look very easy to maintain and to change. It is also hard to change. You do not even see how a field is named. You cannot easily drag and drop fields between different areas. It can be changed, the layout and the fields which are displayed, but there are a lot of limitations. Definitely it needs an IT guy to do the changes. And on the right side, the final sales invoice, it's also usually not what the customer requests. Where do we want to go? The next question, where do we want to go, means usually in a project we get some kind of template. Depends on the company, if there is a graphics department or some power users or whatever. There are people who know how the document finally should look like. But these people are usually not the ones who will finally be able to solve them with SSRS or to create the document. So you need a lot of people from the IT, from the graphical department to create your reports. In this example, on the left side, you see the sales invoice which we have got from the graphics department. It's the first page, which contains the sales invoice itself. And on the right side, you see a second page, or a last page, which contains terms and conditions. The first page uses portrait, A4 portrait. The second page is a landscape document. There are some special features on this document. We extensively use backgrounds. We have included a QR code. We have included a voucher. The voucher is created from SharePoint. So there are some special features which are hard to achieve in SSRS. So what needs to be considered if you want to create this report with SSRS? Can we achieve, or do we have all the features to be able to create this report? I've already mentioned we use a different page setup on various pages. We included various data sources from SharePoint. We opened the voucher. We've included QR codes, and we used background images. Is the desired layout feasible in SSRS? I'm not quite sure if all the features can be implemented. Yeah, of course, somehow it will be possible to implement them. I think it's not that easy, and we definitely do not have. What you see is what you get experience in the SSRS editor. If we want to change the invoice, do we need changes in AX in this case? Yes, usually, definitely. And is the document easy to maintain? It's also another important question. You can think of what you mean. We will show you afterwards how it works in what we do. For us, it would be interesting to get your estimation. So if you needed to implement such an invoice in SQL Server reporting services, what time would you need to do that, to create this layout, including the mentioned functionality?
Okay, cool. So we launch a poll here, and we would ask you to vote. What do you think would it take an effort to realize that report you saw before? Just do your votes, please. You have not. You don't have to realize that report after what's in that time. It's just to see what you would estimate. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, and then we go on with document automation with Docs 42. I mean, when we talk about documents and you talk about documents in AX, most people think about invoices and offers and so on. But there are much more documents. There can be certificates. And when you think about various industries like insurance policies, sales report, project management reports, health reports, all kinds of tickets, and so on. So there are a lot of documents that can be automated, partly integrating data from AX or from other data sources. And the most important thing for us when it comes to document automation is that business users need to be able to design templates, because business users, they bring in various very important expertises, like corporate design and of course the content. So the people here you see on the screen is from left to right is IT, marketing, and business user, and they have very different expertises. Okay, so they should be able to use a tool where each of them can work with, and that's Docs 42, where Docs 42 leverages the Microsoft Office platform for document template design. Also, business users are able to do the document design. And that leads to documents that can include additional value, like, for example, a Google map, a context-sensitive advertisement, and so on. So how does that look like? Docs 42 provides you with Microsoft Office add-ins for Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, or PowerPoint, where you can extend traditional Office documents with Docs 42 controls to integrate data on the one hand and control the structure of the document on the other hand. And this data can not only be textual data, but also images, dynamic charts, barcodes, tables, calculations, whole documents, whatever you can think of, text videos, of course. The add-ins are only for document template design. When you integrate with any system like SharePoint or in our case Microsoft Dynamics AX, you use the Docs 42 server for that. The Docs 42 server does not use Microsoft Office, but uses the file formats, generate your documents, and integrate data in various sources, like all traditional databases, web services, Excel, SharePoint, on-premise or in the cloud, of course, XML, SAP, the whole Microsoft Dynamics world, where we focus on Microsoft Dynamics AX today, and it's even extensible. One of the most, or one of the nicest things about Docs 42 is that you can do the template design in Microsoft Office, leveraging all the formatting capabilities of Microsoft Office, and that's a lot. On top of that, you can use Microsoft Excel as a calculation and charting engine. So that means that whatever chart you can draw in Microsoft Office and Microsoft Excel, and whatever calculation you can do with Excel formulas, you can automatically use within the document automation software Docs 42. That's very, very powerful. And of course, it provides you with the option to integrate barcodes and all kinds of QR codes within your documents. In this sample you see here on the screen, it's a mobile invoice and it contains a QR code. It contains payment information. You can scan this QR code with your smartphone if you have a banking app on it, and immediately pay the Flux Mobile company. Please don't do it. The Flux Mobile company doesn't exist. It's a sample template. You find a lot of sample templates on the Docs42 website. You can download them for free and experiment with Docs42. And let's a short look about what the output formats Docs42 can produce. Of course, all Office formats, PDF, PDF-A as well, storing documents to SharePoint, sending documents off as a mail, print, and a lot more things. In principle, Docs42 provides you with the Office add-ins for design, test, and deployment, and the Docs42 server to integrate with Microsoft Dynamics AX or any other system, and producing lots of documents and output formats. Okay, and then we are done with that. We approaching the demo. Simon, can you give us an overview about the live demo? What did you prepare?
Yes, before I start the live demo, I just want to say some words regarding how Docs42 is integrated in AX. Okay. As we mentioned in the beginning, there is a seamless integration of Docs42 into AX, which means for a user it does not really make a difference if he opens a Docs42 report or SSRS report. So the user opens a report and then it's printed either in SSRS or in Docs42. This means that Docs42 is not a replacement out of the box for all SSRS reports, but some of the reports can be replaced or created in Docs42. Compared to SSRS, Docs42 reports are fast, really fast. We have minimal loading times, and we can create the reports with different layouts per company, per language, and even customer language specific. So there is a seamless integration. For what kind of reports do we use this seamless integration? Most of the time we use it for form letters like sales invoice, sales quotation, delivery notes, or certifications. And in several reports we use the add-ins also for creating labels for the warehouse solutions. And last but not least, of course, we create more or less analytical reports in some cases also with Docs42 because of the nice Excel charting possibilities. All the features, there is a lot of features here listed here again. Christian, I think you talked about them. It's a very powerful tool. And of course, all the functionality can be used in AX as well. So, for the demo today, we have prepared, and that's the main part, a sales invoice. Actually, the sales invoice, which we have seen before, we will try to create it in a live session. So, from scratch, we have got a template from the graphics department, and we will try to automate it with the Docs42. Then we will show you a license plate label and a production overview just in slides to illustrate some more features. Okay, so we hand over to my colleague, Markus.
Sure, so Markus making the presenter. Okay, let's go.
So now we are on a demo server where AX is installed and the Docs42 components. Markus has got the template from the graphics department. It's how the document should finally look like. So it's one sample, and we will try to automate this. First of all, we will copy this document to a folder where we then use it from AX. Okay. Okay. So then let's go to AX and let's open a sales invoice. It's a live demo. So now we are in AX. What's the first thing what we do when we start to create a report with Docs42? First of all, we will print it in AX and just try to see how it looks like. So now it opens the SQL Server Reporting Services report. We have not yet changed anything. I switched to Docs42. So that's the old way we do it. Yes, we do it the old way with the typical waiting. It's not the fastest solution, even if the system is quite fast.
Okay, there's still SQL Server Reporting Services, isn't it?
Yes. Loads and loads. Okay.
So now I understand why so many people voted the high numbers for efforts.
Okay. Time it should be a little bit faster. Yes, it is. So here we have the standard AX sales invoice loaded, and we want to start to replace this with our Docs42 template. So first of all, we have to know how the report is called in AX to be able to redirect it to Docs42. We have created a small tool here where we can set some options which will allow us to see which report was called in SSRS reporting services. So we go to Docs42 parameters and go to user setup, and then we say for our demo user we want to show the report name in the info log. Then let's close this form and then open the report again. So what we see here is that in the background the report name sales invoice is the design report is opened. We need this information to replace the report with an SSRS or with a Docs42 template. So let's close this window and go to our report setup. And now we let the system know that we want to print the sales invoice with a specific design report. Can also leave it empty if we want to redirect all the reports to Docs42. So we say the report sales invoice should use the new Docs42 Word template. So now we added it here. Great. Then we remove the parameter to show all the report names. We don't need it anymore. So we set up the template now. First of all, we need to create the report again. This is a very, very important step when the report is the first time opened and set up for docs42. The system collects the metadata. The metadata contains all the information which would be sent to the SSRS server. We do not send them to SSRS in this case, we just save it in the database. Okay, let's close this. Now we are able to use this data from Word. So we open Word again, and as you see here, there is a new ribbon in Microsoft Office Word. It's the Docs42 ribbon, and there is a very important concept, a very important button there. It's called Data Map. So we have to create the data map, and the data map contains the all the data sources which are needed to get data out of AX. We opened the report in AX, collected the metadata, and now we are connecting to AX from the Docs42 add-in, and we see what the system has finally collected for us. So we see that we have printed the sales invoice, and we see a list of tables here. We see a table report parameters. We see a table sales invoice header footer TMP, and so on. For those of you who have already created SSRS reports, they see here that it's actually the data sources which are available in SSRS. So we collected metadata. For our report, we do not need everything which is sent to SSRS. Marcus will just select the fields that we need for our case, for our template. As a small technical information, Docs42 Word add-in communicates with AX via web services. So a web service is called, which shows which report should be printed with Docs42, delivers the list of possible reports, and for these reports we can configure here which data we actually need. So there is a lot of possible fields and data sources, but usually we only need a subset of it. Unfortunately, Marcus knows which one we need and which fields we need. So we created the sales invoice header data source, and out of these several hundred fields we use a small subset. For this scenario, we don't need only one data source, we need one data source for the sales invoice header and one data source for the sales invoice line. Furthermore, to be able to integrate this add from SharePoint or this voucher, we need an additional data source. It's called SharePoint Ads. Due to security reasons, we created this connection or this data source before. What you see here is the setup of the SharePoint data source, where we tell the system to which site it should connect and from which library we want to load our ads. There is even more setup. Could I please open the query again? There is a lot of setup possible here. For instance, in this scenario, we will load the ads depending on the amount of the invoice. So in this scenario, if the invoice amount exceeds 500,000 US dollars or euros, then you actually win a trip to the Swiss Alps. Nice. Okay, so yeah, we need to create one more parameter in this data map. It's called transaction ID. What does this mean? If you open the report in AX, the system collects all the data and saves it in SQL on the SQL server in some newly created tables, and all the data gets a transaction ID, and the transaction ID is that what we will pass to the Docs42 server, that the server knows which records should be printed. So the transaction ID is the main communication parameter that we need to. So we can save this data map now. Yes, now you can close the template. So we can try if the link from AX to Docs42 works. Let's just try to print the invoice again. So it opens the Docs42 invoice for the first time. What we see here is a PDF file which was created via the Docs42 server, and in this case it's exactly the document which we have got from the graphics department. There is no data coming from AX yet, but it was rather easy to link the report from AX to Docs42. Now the interesting part begins. We have to replace the fixed values in the template with actual values from AX. So let's start with the address. We will replace the address with information what we have got from our sales invoice header. On the right side you see the so-called field selector. In this field selector there are all fields shown which we have set up in our data map. There is a field invoicing name and invoicing address. Then after we change the address, we can change the invoice text, because it's not always invoice. It could be invoice, or it could be something else, credit note for instance, or a performer invoice. Okay, and then we have to change invoice number, invoice date. It's all information which is coming from AX. We can set up the format of all these fields. By default, it uses the setup for strings and for dates and so on from the local Windows settings. In our demo environment, that's an English machine, so we will get English number formats. Okay, we added the invoice amount, invoice date, and the sales order number. That was rather easy because one invoice only contains one invoice number. Now a more interesting part starts. We need to create several lines. How does this work? We use a different data source here and we create the automated range. In this automated range we set up what data source is used. Here we use the sales invoice line data source, and we create one line in this table per record in the sales line data source. So for all records in the sales line where we have the item ID, we create the line here. Okay. Let's replace the item ID, the description, quantity, sales unit, the line amount, the tax information, it's a special one. What does this mean? On one sales invoice, we cannot only have one tax code. In Austria, for instance, we have 20% tax or 10% tax, or it's supported to have as many tax codes as there are needed. That's easily possible in the Docs42 WordAM add-in. To achieve this, we create another automated range. So in one table, we have multiple automated ranges. Now we create the automated range for text code. Yes, for all lines where we have a text code, we create the line here in the template and show the actual text code and the amounts. Then there is the gross amount, the total amount missing. We have to replace this field. It's the total amount from AX. So now our tables, which should show the different items on the invoice and the net amount, taxes and gross amount should be finished. Next, we will add the due date. So we have to change the due date on this text. Now the main part from this details area are completed. As I've already told you, this part where we see the voucher for the Swiss Alps should not be included fixed in the document. So it should load a document from SharePoint. In SharePoint we can set up some conditions. So please show this document for all invoices over 500,000 euros, or there's a unlimited number of possibilities we have here to include some vouchers or some personalized information, whatever you need. You just have to put a document on SharePoint and link this SharePoint document via a path to AX, and during runtime, when the report is printed from AX, it will load the document from SharePoint and integrate it into the template based on your setup conditions, fully automated. Okay, so we added our SharePoint connection. Last but not least, the footer. We want to create a QR code. The QR code should be printed only if we have an invoice ID. So this, it's only displayed when we have an invoice ID. Why do we need this? Because we can create temporary or pro forma invoices from AX when we do not have an invoice ID, and in this case we do not want to create a barcode. So that by QR code Then we also want to change the footer information. We want to show our VAT number, our registration number. Let's see if it's well done, hopefully. Let's close the document and open it again for the, maybe we use another invoice first. Or no, this one. Good. So now we got an invoice from AX with live data in this case. Instead of a lot of lines, we got only 2 lines. Yeah, we got header information, we got the address, we got the lines including prices, we got the net amount, we got the line for the tax. We did not get the voucher, but we got the QR code. We got the second page, which is in landscape format, where we see the general terms and conditions. Yeah. Can I see the invoice amount once more, please? Okay, Marcus, we need an invoice where we bought more than 500,000 euros. I think it's the next one, isn't it? Yes. Because this should be the document where we integrate our SharePoint file. It has much more sales lines now. We bought a lot of TV and Dolby surround stuff here. We bought stuff for over 600,000 euros, and therefore Contoso would be happy to invite you to a great weekend in this site or whatever. Please send an email to Contoso or sales@contoso.com. So that was a very, very brief overview about what is possible in AX in Docs42. I think it's an extremely powerful possibility in a lot of areas. So you can create all the layouting features you have in Word, and you can create you can include a lot of data sources, you can include logic, you can do a lot of things there. And it's pretty fast and easy to maintain. Why? You want to change this document again, you just have to open the Word file again, do some rearrangement, do some formatting, and we are done. Thank you, Marcus.
Very, very
well
cool.
done.
So now for the roundup.
For the roundup, I answered or I mentioned some topics to be considered before, and we tried to show how this works with Docs42. Are all the needed features supported in SSRS? Yes, we were able to create the document. We were able to use this different page setup on various pages. We have included data from multiple data sources. We used the data which AX would send to SSRS, and we combined it with Word documents from Microsoft SharePoint. We integrated a QR code, and we used background images. We were able to use the template from the design department. We did not have to start from scratch. We had a what you see is what you get experience in Microsoft Word. We were not, it was not necessary to create any modifications within AX. We just opened the report, it collected the metadata, and then we chose which fields from this and table from this metadata we wanted to use. And changes are very easy because we can just open the Word file, change the layout, go to AX, and render it again. If you have a live system and the test system and the development system, of course the deployment process is a little bit different. In this case, we copy the file on the file system from one pass to another pass, and then it's deployed. And the effort estimation, I'm not sure what the votes told us. Christian will tell us. We were at least able in creating this invoice in less than 30 minutes. With a little bit preparation.
Yeah, but that was remarkable, because I mean, when this is now the what came out of the poll we raised before, and 25% of all that vote of people that voted said it should be possible within 1 hour. We knew about Docs42, I guess. 17% said it should take 4 hours. 25% said it would take at least a day, and 35%, so the majority, said it will take 2 days or more to create this report template.
Right.
Okay. And it works in practice as well.
Yes, what we have shown you now is a prepared demo case. Marcus has not done this the first time. What really counts in our opinion is that we have an advantage in customer projects to save money and get better looking documents. And we have got some great references over the last couple of months. One of them is, for instance, from CCL Label, where Gerald Grall did a great job. He's the financial controller at CCL. And he had to redesign his form letter documents, invoice, packing slip, and several other documents and lists. He started with the invoice, and he has seen that it's working that great that he started doing a lot of other form letter documents, and nowadays also some the list of B-parts is growing a lot there, and Mr. Gary was able to create 8 customer-specific documents in only 3 to 4 working days, which means he did the development, the analysis, and even the copying of the templates to the live system in 3 to 4 working days, after he only got 1.5 days. Approximately, I think one day was an on-site training, and there was a little bit of offline support, but we were really happy that it worked that great in this case. Good. There is a lot of there's a lot of things more than we showed with the sales invoice, what we can do with Docs42. In our projects, we have done a lot of labels, different kind of labels, which are printed. I just want to highlight a great feature, I think, for the typical ID guy who doesn't want to change AX for all minor changes. And that's the possibility in the AX data source, not only to use fields which are sent to the SSRS report, but also to use all kind of display methods and relations from cursors which are returned on various levels of the query. In this case, you see the sales or the license plate label. It shows the inventory quantity and the batch number and the label ID. And there are some data methods, for instance, for the product image, which we can use to show the product image. And there are some sub-data sources, which means the license plate label knows its vendor. From the vendor, we find the vend table, and from the vend table, we want to show the name or the address. So it's very powerful what we can achieve here in the AX data source without doing any modifications within AX. There is another sample, more from the financial side. We created a demo report where we showed the production order costing overview. On the left side, it shows the estimated values. On the right side, it shows the actual values. And we also created a chart for that, and we created this chart in Microsoft Excel. The chart is integrated in the Word. Well, let's come to our next and final point on the agenda. What are the requirements? The requirements in AX are you need a docs42 server. It's a server component which connects AX and the printer. So AX calls the docs42 server, sends the transaction ID to the server, and the server creates a PDF file which is displayed in AX, or it prints it to the printer. All kind of output is done with the server component. A very, very, very important thing which needs to be mentioned again here, I think, is you do not need to install Microsoft Office on the server. You also do not need to license it on the server. It really has its internal runtime, its internal APIs to create these documents without opening Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint, and it's extremely fast, therefore. So there is the server, there is the Word add-in, in our case, for designing the document. There is also an excellent PowerPoint plugin which can be used. In AX, usually need the Word add-in. And then there is the AX data source with the field selection from AX. Yes, we select the fields and we create a SQL data statement in background which is executed to runtime. So there is this data source. That's what we call on the price list docs42 AX. So it's the combination of the data source and the AX extension to be able to seamlessly integrate docs42 and AX. We need some code changes within AX. We have done them in a way that we have not changed a lot of the standard classes and objects. So we'll try to change as few as possible from the standard things. But yeah, there is some code within AX, and the combination of this code with the data source and the Word add-in and the server is all you need. Currently, the solution is available for AX 2012 R2 and R3. In the current projects, we used CU8 Plus, but shouldn't be a problem to support other AX versions as well, since there are not as many developments. Currently, we are developing the solution for AX7 as well. It's on the roadmap. It just started 10 days before, but we are working on it.
Yeah, and all these components are available as products from docs42. They are, as this is a very new approach, but all the components are meanwhile battle-hardened, as you saw in real life project with real life customers that are very happy with them. Okay. Yeah, then we finally come to the last step where we are open for Q&As and are listening to your questions. But just a last roundup. Why docs42 for AX? You can design appealing documents in Microsoft Office, integrate multiple data sources. We saw in this demo not only Microsoft Dynamics AX, but SharePoint as well. It's easy to deploy, it's fast, it's time and cost saving. Okay, we say thank you very much for your attention, but now it's your turn, and we are happy to answer your questions. So please be so kind as to type in your questions in the questions panel, and we will answer them. So, okay, let's go. Okay, we have some troubles in the beginning. We saw some troubles in the beginning because we had some technical troubles when starting. I see it in the questions panel here. Thank you for reporting that. But now we're here for really questions about docs42 AX and what you saw here. So please be so kind as to type in your questions in the questions panel so that we can answer them. And here comes the first one. What about standard AX print management? Does it still work in combination with docs42?
Yes, it still works with docs42. What we have done in AX is that this docs42 is just another print destination, a print target. In standard you have screen, you have printer, you have file, and now with our add-in you have an additional option. It's called Docs42. For this option there is different setup. If you wanted to print the screen again or print it to a printer or to a file system, and it's fully integrated with the standard AX print management. So if you print the invoice and you have set up your reports using print management, you can still use that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Next question. And you can mail the Word doc directly from AX.
Actually, that's a very typical question. The Docs42 server has the possibility to send emails, so there is an output action not only for printing, there is also an output action for email. We have not yet integrated this automatically in AX. Why have we not done it? Because in the project where we implemented Docs42 AX, there is another add-in used for email purposes, which is able to print all kinds, or is able to send all kinds of reports via the server to multiple recipients, and we have integrated the solution with that add-on in this project. But on our roadmap, it's an issue there that we have to integrate the mailing in this, or have to integrate it into the standard solution. I think there is there will be a change in AX or in the Docs42 add-in as well, and it's expected, or in the server component, to be able to create templates and reports in one step. It's on the roadmap, should be available soon.
So yeah, we already implemented that actually. So we'll be in the next release. Okay. Do you support labels that are automatically translated to the language of the document?
That's also an interesting question. Labels, what we have discussed a lot and what we have done and opted for is we usually create one word template per language. Why do we do that? Because it's much easier to do the design. So you have an English document, you have a German document, and you really have what you see is what you get experience, because you see samples and you see texts and not only axis 5, 6, 7. If you render a report with German language setting, then it uses the German template. If you use English, it uses the English template. And for all the fields in AX, if you're talking about enum values, for instance, item type or whatever, it also uses the language from either the vendor or customer or the user interfaces. It's the same logic as it is in SSRS reports. And for enum values, you can also choose in the add-in if you want to show the label, or if you want to show the name, or if you want to show the number.
I mean, I would like to add to that normally you can reuse the logic for the Docs42 template for any template in any language. You just have several templates to reflect the different taxation of the different languages.
So usually we have one data map and multiple Word documents which contain the layout.
Okay, then, is the final Docs42 report exportable? If yes, in what format? You may choose the format actually, in which format you would like to export it. It can be Word, it can be PDF, and what is most important is PDF-A, so acceptable PDF. Docs42 supports a lot of formats. Next, if you want to add an additional field to, for example, sales invoice and have it available in Docs42, do you still have to add it the same way as in SSRS?
So there are multiple ways to achieve that. As we have seen as a starting point, all the data which is sent to SSRS, including the parameter values, are available in the docs42 report out of the box. If you need additional information, there are two ways. First way is, there are two different kind of reports also. You have database or data provider based reports, which means you have a temp table which contains all the information in flat temp tables, or you have a query which is executed in AX. If you have the report with the temp tables, you can create a new field in this temp table in the data provider, and then this field is available in docs42 as well. Sure. Or what we have also done a lot in projects, because not all customers know AX and they do not want to change AX, so it's possible to, we use SQL statements, and it's possible to add joins, to add sum, to add group by. All the features you can use with AX and with SQL can be used in docs42 as well. And we did it actually a lot, and we also used a lot more advanced features like pivot over, sum, group by, inner joins, outer joins, whatever you need.
And to add the additional field finally in the report, it's just a drag and drop. Okay, next question. How many affected objects are there in standard AX after installing docs42?
Do you know how many classes and things we changed in AX? Yes, but there is some more classes for doing the metadata generation. Most classes are internal classes, that's what Marcus just said, which means they stand alone. We tried to minimize the changes wherever possible to the standard AX classes. It doesn't work in all cases because there are some changes needed within some methods which doesn't work with events. I'm not sure how many objects it is. It's a handful, so it's not a lot of standard objects which we have changed. We have not said in the presentation that there is a trial version available, so feel free to get the trial version and just try it out. You get the code in AX, you can take a look at it, you can play with it, you can try it.
Yeah, we will be happy to support you with that. docs42 is a product, and we are supporting a wide partner network. So if you are with an AX partner, we are happy to support you in evaluating docs42 AX. So next question, do you have any comparison sheets with your competitors like Bottomline, Transform, FormPipe, or DocCentric, which also uses Word to generate layouts? Yeah, we do have such a thing, and we can come back to you with that. Basically, like said, is that one of the most important thing when it comes in comparison to FormPipe, Bottomline, the wide use of the Office platform is one USP, and then there is also a very much different pricing that you would like. Okay, any more questions? Yeah. Any more questions? Then we are at the final part of this webinar to say thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your questions. Sorry for the technical trouble at the starting. I hope we made up for that. Yeah. Final closing words from Siemens and Marcus.
Thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully it was interesting, and we will see you again.
Yeah, thank you for attending.
Yeah, we will be happy to support you in evaluating Docs42. Please feel free to download the free trial, to contact us, to evaluate it. Even if you have some special questions around Docs42X, please contact us. We will be happy to answer every of your questions. So, yeah, and that, oh yeah, there comes one last question. Can we receive a copy of this presentation? Yes, the webinar was recorded and we will provide you with the recording and we will provide you with the slides. So, thank you very much. Have a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.